Hey, Julie. Well, I can't hear you.
Well, it might help if I unmute myself.
There we go. There we go. There's Julie in the house.
Because in my 2 minutes of trying to get everything, I spent 2 minutes trying to unlag my camera, and as you can see, it did not work.
You had to unlag your camera?
It's still, for some reason, you're seeing me move about 10 seconds before I move.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because that is called a glitch.
How do I fix it? Oh, I don't want to talk about glitches after this week. We've got a lot to talk about, friends, here on Monday Night Domain Internet Club after the gorgeous things that happened in the IT universe this weekend.
Welcome to Monday Night Domains. My name is Paige Howe, and this is...
I'm Julie. I'm sorry, I took a sip of soup.
There you go. We talk domains on Monday night. Domain news, domain thoughts, domain entertainment.
Web3, Web2, us.
We've been going for about 3 months, and we're ready to hit the big time. What do you think, Julie? Should we hit the big time?
Put us on TV. I think we're great. Head Talk thinks we're great. So, even though I'm glitching out.
So glitching is something that I remember from the 80s. And everything glitched because computers were slow and they couldn't deal with stuff, so they would glitch. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm working on a project right now involving glitches. And that's all I'll say about it. All right.
Well, I do want to know your opinion while we were talking about all the CrowdStrike things that went on this weekend. How does having your own domain make you less likely, less susceptible to things like that happening?
Well, it probably makes you more susceptible.
Oh, boo.
If you're on another platform, it's an all or nothing proposition. If YouTube or iStream or Restream would have gone down, then it wouldn't have mattered what we did. We would have been down.
Yeah.
And then when you take responsibility for your own technology, then there's certain things you usually have to do. And in this case, it was Cloudflare's problem. They had a problem and then they fixed it, but everyone needed to restart their computer basically to have the fix go through. Mm-hmm. And depending on each company's policies, this is a very general way to describe it as I understand it. You go to restart your system or restart your program, and sometimes that brings into play all kinds of new problems. You know what I mean? For instance, right now, if you're listening to this show and me, do I have everything backed up? I think I do because I use something called OneDrive from Microsoft, which is supposed to keep track of all my files, but I don't know. I put stuff in Google, Drive. I think it's backed up. It used to be you had to literally hit the backup button to download everything off your computer, and you hope that it found everything. So probably a good time to think about your own cybersecurity.
Yeah. Well, I thought with having your own domain, you were able to make more choices on which security platforms you use, because didn't CrowdStrike crash again earlier in 2014?
I don't know. It shows how people are more dependent now on providers with big market share.
Yeah.
So, on one hand, you're safe to go with CrowdStrike because maybe they're one of the bigger companies, but then when they have a problem, it affects more people. What'll be interesting is the airlines, because they have had so much trouble with delaying people's travel.
That was rough.
That it comes to who's going to pay for it. If it's nature or an act of God, then you don't get reimbursed, right, for your travel and all that stuff. If the airline makes a mistake, then they owe you the money. So in this case,
do you think CrowdStrike is going to get sued by like a ton of companies?
oh, they'll definitely get sued, just because if you're an attorney, you can press a button and process a lawsuit. It's, what happens in the end. But
I just know, like me personally, I had a bunch of data get lost in the strike. Luckily, I don't really have things that are that expensive, but you definitely could have lost a lot of expensive data. Oh, sorry, you're right. We're getting off domains. Head Talk said he loves the domain talk.
Well, so let's talk about security for your domains. I'll spend some time on that, because the second thing that happened the last couple of weeks is, we talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago, is
last week.
Google domains, where a lot of people went and put their domains because they were like, hey, I trust Google, I go to Google Domains. And Google Domains actually sold its own company called Google Domains to Squarespace, another large company. And, why did they do it? I don't know. They used to run a lot of domains like .app, and are they high on domains? In some ways, they don't want you to use your own domain. Anyway, all that being said, Squarespace was having to integrate these 10 million new domains. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, as they started getting ready for the changeover, someone identified a vulnerability where it was like they were starting to get new accounts ready for each domain. So they could send a message that said like, hey, welcome to Squarespace. Your old domain's going to work just fine. Just go ahead and log in and do this or something. And someone was able to find a vulnerability in there and start, in essence, managing these domains that hadn't been moved over yet or were in the process of moving over. And it caught up some companies. So when it comes to your domain name, especially if you're using it for your company, you want to have it in a registry account. If it's super critical, you probably want to have it in its own account so that you can't make a mistake while you're managing 150 or 200 or 2,000 names and affect a name that's really key. Usually, I like to have. What's that?
Do you have your high-end domains in a different account than you have your lower? You do?
I do, because a lot of times if I'm building a website like on our CFD domain, like fashion.cfd, I'm going to have the name server set up with an A record or something complicated. Whereas my domains that I have for sale, I may move 1,000 domains to one landing page, 1,000 domains to another, and I may want to do things in bulk. So the two things you could do is you could either in the same account have what's called folders. So you set up folders, and I might have a folder for top names. I might have a folder for medium names or names I want to drop, or develop names, or I may put a folder for geo names, So you can use folders within your main account, but for developed names, I always put them in a different account, just because I don't want to accidentally change the name servers on everything and then get those caught up.
Is there a way to transfer domains between accounts that you still own that's easier than buying and purchasing it?
Yeah, it's a good question. So in domain transfers, there's two types. You can push a domain, P-U-S-H, from one account at a registrar to another account. And VeriSign, who runs the registry for .com, or all the other registry operators, they really don't care what happens when the names at a registrar like GoDaddy or Namecheap. So if you move it from account 1, 2, 3, 4 to account 5, 6, 7, 8, VeriSign still knows it's just with Namecheap. You know what I mean? So that's the easiest way to create a new account, is at the existing registrar. You can move the name for free. You don't have to add an extra year or something like that. Now, if you wanted to move all your developed domains to one registrar or one account, you would have to do a transfer. A couple little extra things. If you're just learning about domains, you can renew a domain name for up to 10 years. So if you wanted to, you could be like, listen, I'm going to renew this name for 10 years. I won't have to worry about it. It'll always work. And that's good. The bad news is if 8 years from now you change your email address, you may not remember that 10 years ago, you know what I mean? So everything comes with a plus and a minus. Some registrars. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so what about transferring, pushing websites around?
So that is something you and I have experienced where a lot of the registrars are looking at us and going, I don't understand what you even mean. I'm like, well, I want to move a website that's built in one account to another account. And so they don't do it well. Now, I did talk to Hidayat, which he runs a company, co-founder of a company called WebHash, and they're building Web3 websites. And if you can think about this moment, they're finding a way to take a website and tokenize it like an NFT. So it's a piece of digital property that you can move around, huh?
I like that. Because then can it be attached to my wallet?
Exactly. And if you sold it to someone, you could just send it to their wallet and they would get the domain name and the website, bada bing.
And that makes our whole kind of restructuring thought process of people want websites a lot better, because then it's not, because isn't there something in Web 2 where you have to have the website for a month before you can transfer it? Is that a thing?
When you first get a domain name, you have to have it for 60 days.
Before I can move it?
Before you can do a registrar transfer. But you can do that little thing called a push in those 60 days. So you can buy a name.
Okay.
Say I buy a name at GoDaddy, Web2 domain name. I email some people. I sell it for $1,000. I can tell the new owner, I can push it to you at GoDaddy. Go ahead and create an account at GoDaddy, and I'll send it from my account to your account. Now, if they say, hey, we wanted it Namecheap, I would have to say, well, because it's in its first, 60 days, I can't move it now. But once you move it to your account, you can move it, in 60 days. So those are some of the details. But the website part,
free deal, does that ever come into play whenever you're whenever you're selling? Have you ever had people turn down on a deal because of that?
They don't turn it down. I don't know if I've had anyone turn it down, but I try to, if I know it's a name that has that happening to it, I'll try to bring it up during the sales process. And I may try to be positive. Like I'd be like, and Julie, by the way, I can push this name to you at GoDaddy right away.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying, and by the way, I can't let you register a transfer, but I'm just trying to set up, at the beginning that it's going to be a push.
It's going to be in GoDaddy.
Yeah. And so, or whatever registrar I have it at. Like I just bought a bunch of names at one of our friends, Pork Bun, who gave us our cool mugs for CFD.
Where's my mug? I should have had my Pork Bun mug.
There you go. That's Pork Bun.
I've got a cool T-shirt.
They had a special last month for $6.99 for .coms. So I bought some .coms there, and I knew that for the first 60 days, people that bought them would have to keep them at Pork Bun. So what I did was I put the landing pages on a Pork Bun lander where someone can buy the name from Pork Bun and it'll instantly deliver the name to them. And they won't know any difference. They'll just feel like, oh yeah, I went to Pork Bun, I bought the name, it got moved to me. And so that's a way that I try to do that 60-day thing.
Okay, so that's some salesman kind of swagger we got going on here, is how to work around that.
Exactly.
Interesting. That's a good tip to share out there.
So listen, for tonight's show, I want to talk about meme coins, because meme coins are everywhere. Meme coins aren't worth anything, yet somehow some of these meme coins like Pepe are worth $5 billion. If you add up all the Pepe meme coins, they're worth $5 billion. There's other ones that are worth $1 billion. Today, the Kamala Harris meme coin, you would have made 5 times your money if you would have picked the right one. There's like 30 of them,
Really?
And so basically it's just pure crack cocaine for digital assets. There's nothing behind them. It's just, are they going to go up? Are they going to go up? If enough people think they're going to go up, they go up. You're on Twitter, oh man, this is going to go up. Oh, this is totally going to go up. It's totally going to go up. And at the same time, they're saying that they could be selling to you anyway. So I wanted to tell you, Julie, about meme coins.
Okay.
So everything with meme coins people chart the price of the meme coin, and people want to look at the chart like it's a stock, and they can say, oh, I totally see with this pattern where the stock's going to go, where the meme coin's going to go. It's kind of like being at the roulette table in Vegas, and you see they publish like the last 10 numbers were red, blue, or red, black, red, black. And you're like, oh, it's got to be black this time. You know
well, I see it as the stock market for funsies. So like a video game stock market.
Yeah. And people are just so turned off by the traditional ways to make money that are all populated by people already. They love anything new. But here's how I'm going to compare domains to meme coins.
Okay.
Meme coins, you can buy them in your wallet instantly. You click a button. You can even buy them on Telegram, where you just click a button and boom, it takes $100 from your wallet and buys you $100 worth of meme coins. And these meme coins, they all issue like 1 billion shares. So they're selling for like 0.000000009 cents. And because of that, your $100 buys you 1.5 million shares of a meme coin. And then if you turn around 1 second later and want to sell it, you can. It goes up 0.3 cents and you sell, and you buy and you sell. Or you can wait a couple days and it can double. You can lose all your money. A lot of them go all the way down to zero.
That reminds me of the scoreboard from Monsters, Inc. Just like consistently changing, just like boom.
But they're always liquid. You can always get out of them for some price. If you buy, the price will go up. If you sell, the price will go down. So that's that. So you have liquidity. You have to assume when you go to buy it that everyone else has either bought and sold what they wanted. So you're betting on what's going to happen after you buy it. You know, you buy it, and then it's like being in a popular restaurant, and you hope that you get there, and then there's a big line, and you can look behind you and see a big line behind you of a lot of people that want to buy it, and then it goes up and you make money. But what if you're the last person to show up, and you're like, yeah, I'm in, and then everyone else starts
It's like
selling.
the opposite of like an art auction where you want to be the last person to buy something. It's like, no, you want to be the first.
So so this is what a chart looks like of a meme coin. This is one that I've been playing around with, and this is not financial advice to buy or sell this meme coin.
Can we have a disclaimer that says that is consistently across the bottom? This is not financial advice. Don't do exactly what we say.
But this is one that's just interesting to me. This is called Land Wolf, and this is a character in this Matt Fury thing. So just today, it's gone from the whole project being worth 60 million yesterday at this time. It went down to being worth 51 million. It went up to being worth 55 million, down to 50 million. And then between noon and 5 o'clock today, it went up $15 million, and then it went down. And in just the past 7 days, it's done this. And in the past month, it's done this. So it totally appeals to the compulsive addict, because you're like you can just picture your emotions.
Buy, sell.
Right. You can just picture your emotions, you know. It's like, oh, it's going down. Oh, someone bought it. Maybe it's going to go back up. Oh, no, it's going to go back down. Oh, it went up. I got to get in. Oh, I got to get out. I got to get in.
It'd be a fun live event.
So now I'm going to show you what a domain looks like. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Does it show my, let's see, hold on.
I'm seeing the graph, the red graph.
Hold on, let me stop my share. And then let me start my share. Trust me, everybody, I'm going to get to it.
I think you're doing great.
All right, let's see. I'm trying to go to my, entire screen. There we go. Entire screen.
Also, my apologies that I'm so laggy. I'm sure it's annoying, friends. I'll get it figured out in the future. Okay.
All right. So, if a domain name had a chart, right?
Uh-huh.
This is what it would look like. I'm going to get my pen here, my black pen. You would buy the domain name for $100, right?
Okay.
Right after you bought it, if you wanted to sell it, you probably couldn't. So it might be worth $0. You're like, I want to sell it right now. Oh, no one wants to buy it. Now, if it's a pretty good domain name that you bought for 100, and the reason you had to pay 100 was other people kind of liked it too, maybe it's worth 20. You know what I mean? Just because other people like it, but they don't want to pay what you paid, so they're like, I'll give you 20. So a domain name, you buy it for 100, it goes down to 20. Maybe sometimes people might pay a little more, a little less, a little more, a little less. And then, like 2 years later, you get a message like I did today that says, your domain just sold on Afternic for $2,000.
And then you play the tambourine.
Exactly. You pray that, but all this time you can't get out of it. It's only worth its wholesale value, and even that's hard to get. But when it does sell, you can make 10, 20, or 100 times your investment. But you don't have the emotional up and down here, which for some people is good. But most people want the action. They want to buy it for 100 now and then have it go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down.
So what keeps you in it while you're in the little wiggle phase?
Well, most of the time you have to have had sales happen to where you say to yourself, something's going to sell today. When the right time comes, I'll sell this name. Or like some of our friends in the domaining space, you can say, I'm not going to wait for this to happen over 3 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do outbounding. I'm going to reach out to people and say, hey, would you like to buy this name? I just want to let you know this name's available. And you might have to settle for 500 or something like that because you're bringing the idea to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they should, but if they get the idea, they're like, oh, I got to have that name. I got to have that name. In fact, I helped the people at Landwolf buy landwolf.com. They paid $40,000 for that name because there's a couple other Landwolf meme coins, and they wanted to tell everybody that they were the best. They owned the .com.
Yeah, which is a big deal in this industry. Whoever owns the .com wins.
Right, and it doesn't mean you have to own the .com. You can own another one, and you could just be more energetic, more creative. So you never know what your strength is going to be. Right. But sometimes if buying a domain name is a way where it only costs you money, and then you get that flex. And the reason that's important, the reason it brought me to Web3 was the Web2 domains, TLDs, have already been given out. There's 2,000 of them. Like we talked about early on, Julie. Yeah. If you want one that hasn't been getting out, you can't have it.
Yeah. Or you can pay $200,000 to maybe get it in the future in 3 years.
Right. And then you have to kowtow to them and do the rules. But the benefit is you get it where it works on the whole internet. Web3 domain, people have to get a plug-in to have it work, but you can get what you want. But if what you want is so good that you can overcome that obstacle, that's one of the reasons I bought .summer. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's summer. Like you can't say, oh, it's summertime. Now, summertime would be good maybe, but there was no comparable one in Web 2. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so for me, rather than buying, like maybe doing a deal with a country and getting .su and then having to tell people that stands for summer. You know what I mean? It's like, no, summer.
Valid way to go about things with .cfd.
Right. And so, and we're learning that with CFD. We're having to make it into something. So I think
but it's worth it because I see, I do some posts for .cfd where I'm shouting out other small businesses, and all you see for like small boutiques is shopvedaboutique.com, shopthisboutiqueonline.com. Like it's just not. We're running out of names. We're running out of .coms here in the world. So I think it's
and attention. You have to get their attention. So the other thing about that chart I showed you is some of the things that the Web3 companies are doing are to make domains trade like meme coins in that right now, if you buy a domain name, it might take 1 to 5 days for your payment to clear, for the escrow agent to send you the information, for you to do a transfer. It takes a while to make sure it's not a fraudulent credit card. And these are all good things. These are all good things, but it's not instantaneous. So one of the things that Freename announced this week is that they now have a registrar, and what they're going to be doing is letting you tokenize a domain name. So if I own,
Exciting.
And so you can sell it when someone is kind of impulsive, and they can be like, I want it right now. You know what I mean? I want, I just saw the Olympics. Yeah. And I saw the javelin, and I want javelin.club. You know what I mean? A Web2 domain, but I don't want to wait. I want it right now. And so if you tokenize it, someone can buy it with their wallet and own it right now. And then they may want to sell it a half hour later, because everyone's watching the javelin. So I think we can bring some of that short-term liquidity, not at the big price that you could get later, but at the wholesale price.
Now, just to expand, what can you define tokenizing in like a sentence, just for anyone we have that's like new, kind of me?
Yeah, tokenizing a domain name. There's two types of tokenization: tokenization for sale, and then tokenization for use. So I'm going to talk about tokenization for sale, which is NFTs and coins can be bought instantly between wallets with a click of a button. Domains take a long time with a manual process. But if you take a domain name and you wrap it in an NFT, basically, then that NFT can be traded really quickly. And the changing of the name at the registrar, which normally takes a while, that just happens like behind the scenes. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm not going to build out this domain anyway. I just want to own it. I just want to own it. You know what I mean? I want to say that I own it. So you don't care about that other stuff. You're just like, I want to own it. And so that's what the tokenization does with domain names, is it makes it instantly delivered. And you don't have to wonder, like, you ever go to like a swap meet or a yard sale and you see something and you're like, how much is that? And they're like $10 and you're like, I'll take it. And they're like, oh, I gave you the wrong price. I really did. You know what I mean? It's almost like they want to renegotiate. Well, with domain names wrapped as NFTs, it's like, if you see it, you buy it. You got the domain, they got your money, it's done, it's irreversible. It's, and so now that doesn't mean that there aren't still, in emergency cases, some ways where fraud or stolen domains can be recovered. But in general, it makes domains, tradable. And that's
collectible or an asset.
Yeah.
Like a digital identity.
It is. And if all you're buying a domain name for is the digital identity, right?
Yeah.
It's like a collectible. It's like my little hula shark.
Hey, I got that for you.
My little hula shark. Say I wanted to be hula shark. Well, I could get hulashark.com or hulashark.net or hulashark. Whatever, and I just want to own it. I may or may not build a website on it later. I may do something later, but I just want to own it right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's happened is there's 400 million or 350 million domains, and not all of them have websites. So the idea is a lot of people are buying domains. Either one, they just want to hold them to sell them in the future, or two, they just want to own them. They just want to say they have them. And that doesn't need to come with all the baggage of Web 2 and the barriers. And so that's where tokenization of Web 2 domains is going to come. And then that's going to make it easier to understand Web 3 domains, because then you're going to be like, well, I could buy, hulashark.club, say, because it was $10, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone's like, or you could buy the Web 3 domain, hulashark.summer. And it doesn't work on the most internet computers, but it's still really cool, right?
Yeah.
So you see how like the appeal.
And if you're the kind of person who wants to buy a domain just to have it, you probably already have the extension downloaded.
And that's the thing, is the appeal of having the right extension overrides the fact that not everyone can see it by default, but still, either one, it's going to get better in the future, I think, of who can see it, or two, you can still give people a link on Twitter. Like if I said, hey, I just put up a new website on hulashark.summer, I would say, click here first to get the Freename extension. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
click that, you download the app. Now click hulashark.summer. And that's not that much of a barrier, right? That's not hard to do. It's like you downloading an app.
I do that often. Well, we have been little chatterboxes, Dad. We're about out of time for this fine Monday, but we do have a question.
Okay, but before we do that, let me say something for the cut-ups later. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which is, a Web3 domain doesn't do everything a Web2 domain does. But you can get some desirable top-level domains with your domain, or you can own the top-level domain, which you can't do in Web2.
Right.
All right, that was for the cut-ups.
That was great.
All right.
All right,
do we got?
Garcia, we have a question. Are Freename SLDs minted in wallets likely to receive any announced or future meme coins, other airdrops, perhaps with potential utility by Freename partners simply due to our owning SLDs? Thanks.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. I don't know if Freename has anything planned, but remember, when you buy a TLD, you're the principal, you're the player, you're the top dog. You're like the club owner at a club, you know what I mean? Or you're like the event promoter. You know, you're at someone else's club, but you're promoting the event. So it's your job to build the community. So what I'm looking at doing, like with .summer, is why can't I not have a summer coin? A meme coin called Summer.
Yeah.
The breaking news right now. So I can have a meme coin called Summer, and people could buy and sell that for the excitement, but it doesn't give them anything. But at the same point, if I could tell them about owning a .summer domain, which they can either use later, or even if the price of the Summer coin goes up and down and up and down, the value of the domain name maybe slowly rises or something like that. So I think that's where meme coins and domains can work together. Is you're giving someone something potentially, the meme coin can give them the excitement they want now, but maybe when a lot of these coins go to zero, they don't have anything left and they feel burned. And you could be like, well, good thing you got your domain, julie.summer, because you can still do something with that.
I like it. All right, everybody. What a great show. We had a good amount of people tonight. So I hope everyone has a great week and a happy Monday. Dad, any closing thoughts?
Shout out to Hedgehog. I see you. I see you
there.
there.
Everyone's hyping us up over there. I'm like, okay.
Rocking the ENS Maxis PFP. So shout out to the Maxis who we met at the Domainer Expo. Shout out to Domainer Expo. Announced they're coming back. So they're coming back in December. DomainerExpo.com, I'm pretty sure. But no, that's it, Julie. Monday Night Domains. Great show, Julie.
Thanks. Everyone have a great week. Hopefully we won't have a giant IT crisis. And